Hi, I'm Alex Cologne, and I'm here with Will Greenwald. And today we are talking about the new Amazon Echo Buds. The official name is the Amazon Echo Buds 2nd Gen, and these are coming about a year and a half after we first reviewed the original Echo Buds. Now, there are some differences here. These earphones feature active noise cancellation as opposed to active noise reduction, and they're a little bit smaller than the original model. They also start at $10 less. It's $119.99 if you want the model that comes without a charging case. And if you do want one with a wireless charging case, it's $139.99. That's compared to the original model, which just came with one case for $129.99. Now, Will, you reviewed the Echo Buds. Let's start from the beginning. Let's talk about the differences between these and the original Echo Buds. Do you want to first start by talking about the size and shape?
Okay, well, I have the Echo Buds right here. This is the charging case, and this is what one of the Buds looks like. It is 21% smaller than the original Echo Buds, and the nozzle stems are a little bit shorter. So if you have smaller ears, it's a bit more comfortable. I have pretty big ears, so I actually found that the larger original Echo Buds fit in my ear a bit more securely than these. But for most users, this does come with a fit kit with 4 different sized silicone ear tips and a few different pairs of silicone ear fins that can help stabilize it in the ear. So you're probably going to find a good fit for it, and it is comfortable to wear.
And as far as fit goes, there's also the app has an ear fit test that helps you find the right fit, right?
Yes, this is actually one of the weirder points of my testing of it. The earfit test sends a tone through the earphones and then uses the noise canceling microphones to sort of measure the we'll just measure how well the seal is in the ear. And when testing with my ears, I could only get good, like 2 out of 3 bars, which is not as good as like the full 3 bars. And I tried several different combinations of ear tips and ear fins, and I just couldn't get it higher than that. And again, it depends on ear shape. Everyone's ears are different, so you might easily get a 3-bar rating. But for me, I only got good. So
Okay.
it's not, the most perfect app, but it does help you figure out if you have a good seal.
All right. So while we're talking about the design, we know that they're a little bit smaller. What about the touch controls? There's a back panel with touch controls on these?
Yep. The back panel is on the original Buds, they were glossy, but here they're the same matte plastic as the rest of the Buds. They're very simple. You tap once to play or pause a track, tap twice to answer or end calls or skip forward, tap 3 times to go backward, and you can tap and hold either one to, by default, switch between noise cancellation and pass-through audio, which lets you hear your surroundings. But you can control the tap and hold gesture for either ear to do different things, including bringing up your own phone's voice assistant or even change the volume. It's a pretty limited but very easy to learn interface. The only problem is the tap surface is very sensitive. I found that when trying to adjust where the earphones were in my ear or taking them in or putting them out, I would accidentally tap it. Again, I have big fingers as much as big ears, so you might be able to handle it better.
And you can turn those controls off if you want.
Yes, you can disable them.
I mean, I like having tap controls. It would depend
I
on
do
how
too. It's
sensitive
handy.
they are.
Yep.
Now, probably the biggest part about these earphones, what makes them, Echo Buds, is the fact that they offer hands-free Alexa voice control. Do you want to explain a little bit about how that works here?
Yes, basically the earphones work just like a smart speaker. You say Alexa and give it a command, and it's just like using Alexa with your Amazon Echo or Fire TV Cube or Echo Show. You can just use Alexa wherever you are as long as the earphones are connected to your phone.
So you don't actually need to tap on the ear. You could just say the wake word.
You can just say the wake word for Alexa. You can tap and hold to summon Bixby or Siri or Google Assistant if it's your phone's native voice assistant, but Alexa is entirely hands-free.
Mm-hmm. And as far as I'm afraid to say the word because I'm going to trigger my speaker here, but as far as what the voice assistant can control, it's the same as if you were using a smart speaker in your home.
Yeah, you can control smart home devices. You can get general information like weather and just ask sports scores or unit conversion. You can tell the phone to call someone. There are just a bunch of useful features with it.
Okay, let's talk now a little bit about the charging case. Since you have the option of 2 different charging cases. As I mentioned, one pair comes with the standard charging case, that's $119.99, and the other pair comes with the wireless charging case. That is $139.99. So what is the difference between those two cases?
Well, I have the wireless charging case here,
Mhm.
physically identical to the regular charging case. They're both going to look like this pill-shaped flip top case. The only difference is this one you can charge on a Qi wireless pad. So you can just put it on any compatible Qi charger like you would a phone that charges wirelessly, and it'll charge that way instead of needing to plug in USB-C.
Okay, and so the standard case only comes with just a USB-C plug on the bottom?
Yep.
All right, so for 20 bucks, basically you could throw the case on a wireless charger and leave it there.
Yeah, or charge it with like your phone if you have one of those Galaxy phones that has the reverse charging.
All right, so let's get to what I think are arguably the most important parts of a pair of earphones, the sound quality and the noise cancellation. I first want to focus on noise cancellation because, so the first pair of Echo Buds, they offered what Amazon called active noise reduction. That's not a term we hear that often. We typically hear of active noise cancellation. That's, it uses noise canceling microphones to assess what's happening around you and sort of use the inverse of those sounds to cancel out what you're hearing. Um, can you explain the difference, or do you know the difference between what the noise reduction was in the original Echo Buds versus the noise cancellation here?
As far as we can tell, there is very little difference besides academic. The concepts are the same. Exterior microphones measure outside noise and basically try to reduce the noise that goes through, like sends an inverse wave usually,
Mhm.
and just sort of blocks out or at least reduces distracting noises. The difference between the two generations, the active noise reduction, Amazon worked with Bose to develop it. Bose is one of the biggest companies in noise reducing ANC headphones, and it worked pretty well, honestly, compared with active noise cancellation. It was pretty solid for non-Bose, non-Sony earphones.
Right. I should just mention here that our top pick for noise cancellation in this category, it's from Bose, and it's a $280 pair of earphones, the Bose QuietComfort earbuds. So that's
Yep.
literally more than double the price of these Echo Buds.
Yeah, Bose also tends to go for a significant premium. Uh, the difference between that and the active noise cancellation on the second generation Echo Buds, I couldn't really tell much of a difference. The ANC on these buds aren't super great. Like they're okay, they can tamp down on some noise, but if you're riding a subway, you're still going to hear the rumble. I could still hear a bit of a hiss from my computer fan when testing it. It isn't nearly as comprehensive as the noise cancellation you'll get on Bose earphones with ANC or Sony earphones with ANC or the Apple AirPods Pro.
But again, when we're comparing it with those pairs of earphones, we are talking about, I think the least expensive pair there is the AirPods, and those start at 250.
There are a few actually. The Anker Soundcore Liberty Air 2 Pro are 130, and they have ANC. The Panasonic RZ S500W also are priced at around the same as the AirPods Pro, though I've seen them on sale for $100. They
Mhm.
have decent ANC. There are earphones that have that for around the same price or a little bit lower, just approximately than the Echo Buds. They're not nearly as powerful as what you get with the pricier earbuds, so that's definitely a factor. Like if you want really good noise cancellation, you need to pay for it.
Right. So let's talk about the other most important part, which is the audio quality. How do these Echo Buds sound?
They sound pretty good. They don't sound super amazing. It's a generally well balanced sound signature. It has solid bass. It has a bit of high end. It is sort of well balanced from the low mids to the high mids, so you're not really going to be missing any part of the track you're listening to. But it doesn't reach very far into the bass. It doesn't have a ton of high end finesse, so you're not going to get really crisp sounds, and you're not going to get really like rumbling, thunderous bass. So you're just going to get kind of a mid range performance that is well balanced, but not super amazing.
So it kind of sounds like everything that we're saying here is that the noise cancellation is good. It's not incredible. The audio quality is good. It's not incredible. But you're also getting a lot of other things for the price. The hands-free voice control, the fact that they do offer noise cancellation for, starting at 120 bucks. So ultimately, this sounds more like the whole package is really what's worth it here more than any particular feature.
Yeah, there are good earphones sort of across the board. They're not great. They're not super amazing. There isn't any one factor that's going to just blow you out of the water. But for 130 for, well, 120 to 140, depending on the case you get, they're solid earphones and they work very well for what they do. They just don't excel at anything.
All right, so that is our sort of wrap up of the second generation Amazon Echo Buds. We gave them 4 stars. You can see our full review on pcmag.com. Thanks for tuning in to One Cool Thing, and we will see you next time.
Bye.